I'm so honored that you all have made a few minutes time for me, and there's several things I'd like to do. I want to say just a minute more about Hartley. He is one of the most self-effacing people that I know. He will not let you brag on him. He'll walk a half a block out of the way to keep from somebody doing that. But I was thinking this week, as we prepared for this important occasion, about all the things that have happened in my experience. How we had a statewide election, Joe, where we lost every seat. And yet we had probably the best legislative session we've had maybe in 10 years. How many good things came together this year? Well, those are certainly not all due to Hartley's efforts or any one person's efforts. They're due to your efforts, Tommy and his staff. But Hartley dealt with the legislature. And some people would have said he was short-handed. Turned out he had more than he needed. He had Dickie Howe. But I was gone, Gallagher was gone, Slack was gone. We all were unavailable for various reasons. And all that time that battle was raging, and it is a battle, his dear friend and his longtime partner, Bill Young, was fighting for his life with cancer. We had to deal with the building. We had to deal with Depot Connect. So many things that all culminated in this year. And yet I asked him at the end of the session, I said, golly, I know you are exhausted. You must just be worn out. The strain and the stress. He said, Don, I have loved every minute of it. Every minute of it. Boy, I tell you, that's amazing. He was the perfect man for the job for this year. When it all came together, he was the right man. And I don't think that was an accident. Tommy's right. These two guys are so much alike. That's the reason they get along so well. And literally, neither one of them, would you bet, could get from home to the office without getting lost. But they've had a kinship and a friendship that's been so wonderful to watch. And so, thank you, pal. You've done a great, great job. Something else I want to say to you that is worth saying. Tommy's been in my life now for about 10 years. And I've been thinking recently about a lot of things. And one of the things that I've thought about is what an impact Tommy has had on my life. If Tommy Jacks were here today, he would say the same thing. Dickie Howe, Mike Slack, Jan Fox, Bill Whitehurst, on and on, Rick Freeman. Because I had this sense when I was elected president of TTLA that this was going to constitute some sort of a sacrifice on my part. As you say, giving up 2 years of your life, or 2.5 in my case. And I felt like, well, I know this will be an imposition. I know this will interfere with things that I'd rather do. But I want to tell you, I was wrong. Hartley's response would be the same response that you would get from anybody that has a chance to serve with Tommy. It's a blessing. It's a privilege. Tommy has taught us, and I think it spreads to all of us, so many things. 10 years ago, I didn't go around telling men I loved them. I've learned that from Tommy Townsend. I didn't go around kissing men on the cheek like he likes to do. I think about Tommy's tenderness. I think about his thoughtfulness. I think about what an encourager he is. Always quick to write a note. He's always quick to pat somebody on the back, thank them. And I've thought about that in my life and what that's meant to me. You know, we're all busy, but we've all got time to tell somebody we love them or we're proud of them or pat them on the back or thank them. And he's taught me that. I love those qualities in him so much. And so as you all continue with this great association and as the younger ones of you continue your leadership roles, I hope you get to experience this great blessing that we've had. And so, Tommy, I want to thank you, my friend, for what you've done for us and for me particularly. George, you made a great introduction. One thing that you left out, you failed to mention that Joe Tonnahill was probably the greatest expert witness that ever lived. In the late 1970s, I was a little younger lawyer carrying a pretty heavy railroad docket over in East Texas, and Judge Clyde Earl Smith was the district judge in Hardin County. Bowen Enterprise, that bastion of intellectual light in East Texas, had written a fairly uncomplimentary article about Judge Smith. He asked George Pletcher and myself to represent him against the Enterprise, and so being great First Amendment lawyers that we were, we stepped into the breach, and Joe was our expert witness. He was the witness to prove that this article was in fact defamatory, and that indeed if the writer of that article meant everything that was in that story, then by golly, that was malice, and what great damages had been suffered by Judge Smith. And I'm telling you, as a trial lawyer, you couldn't have a greater witness. It was spellbinding. It was as good as it gets. He was just masterful. You saw the strength and the power today. Oh, man. Well, I'm such a great lawyer. I was able to take that case and manage to get a hung jury. It wasn't Joe's fault. I was also thinking if you looked in a dictionary and you looked up the term bull of the woods, you'd see a picture of Joe Tonnahill. You know, a lot of us don't even understand that concept perhaps, but it's been such a thread in the history of this organization. Now, if you'll permit me, what I'd like to do is address you from a personal standpoint. I certainly am not Lou Gehrig, and this is not home plate in Yankee Stadium. But one of the things that's happened to me as I have dealt with this hard news here that I've been given in the last month is that I have been counting my blessings. And I can finally understand how Lou Gehrig could say what he did, that he was the luckiest man on earth. And part of that in my life is because of you individually, you as a group. You know, when you practice in a narrow area of the law like I did, the FELA, you don't interact with an awful lot of other lawyers. You know the railroad lawyers, and you know the few others that you do business with, and that's sort of it. Through this association, I've been blessed with meeting the greatest lawyers in this country. I've been blessed with their friendship. I've been blessed with their help. I've gotten to work on cases with them. I have experienced from you firsthand so much warmth, so much honor, and I love you for it. You know, I certainly don't know what the future holds for any of us, including myself. If the doctors are right, then my future is more limited than most of yours. And I may not have an opportunity to see all of you again, and thank you. So I'm very appreciative for these few moments. I was thinking to myself earlier this week, and then it dawned on me when Senator Bowen graced us with his presence. When he came in that door, he knew that this was a room full of warriors, that everybody in here was a fighter. That's another reason I love you. But I'll tell you something that I've learned, big man, that I'm not sure that everybody else in the world knows. And that is that this is a room full of believers. You believe in truth. You believe in mercy. You believe in forgiveness. You believe in responsibility. You believe in second chances. You believe in following the adage from the Bible that George talked about those less fortunate and what we're to do. You believe in miracles. And you believe in prayer. As Tommy would say, prayer by name. Every one of you that I've seen or heard from has told me that you're praying for me. Some of you have said, you know, I'm not much at praying, but I'm going to pray for you. And that's overwhelming. I've been on my knees with tears running down my cheek with gratitude for your prayers, your thoughts, your kindness. And so, I don't know, maybe John Cornyn wouldn't believe this, but I'm living proof that we believe in the power of prayer and we care about each other. I thank you so much for caring about me and my family, and I thank you for caring about all of the rest of us. I think sometimes we don't wear our faith on our sleeves because we despise hypocrites. And sometimes the people that are that way are hypocritical. But it's there. Every one of you told me that. No matter what your religious background or your faith may be, you've told me that. If you'll let me do it, I want to give you a blessing. It's not Clearly, it won't apply to all of you, but I think maybe there will be a piece of it that perhaps will mean something to you. You know, you got to realize it's my blessing, and I'm from some of those hard shell West Texas small churches, Joe. But let me give this to you if you'll bear with me just a minute. May the Spirit of Christ live in every one of your hearts. May you cling to your beliefs and not fear to speak them. May we find honor in our endeavors, even when our clients aren't grateful. May we continue to encourage one another. May we continue to cooperate in this association, even as we compete against each other. And may we draw strength from each other when our own runs dry. May you always know that no matter what happens, that God will take care of you and me. And finally, no matter what happens to us in these mortal bodies, may the great physician heal all of our souls. Thank you so much.